Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Keeping It Real on Purpose, and I am your host, Edna White. And today we have a special guest. In this episode of Keeping It Real on Purpose, we're calling out the chaos of modern dating because high-achieving women don't have time for games, ghosting, or the endless swipe of the cycle. My guest, Michelle Chung, is a love strategist, a best-selling author, a podcast host, and a serial entrepreneur who helps powerful women attract committed, effortless relationships without dating apps. And I'm loving that. We're talking about the energy, the mindset, and the intentionality that we're supposed to have it takes to find a partner who actually supports your purpose, ambition, and lifestyle. So there's no shrinking or no settling today. Stay tuned. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
So how do you show up in the world, Miss Michelle?
Oh, thank you for asking. I am exactly, the women that I serve. I'm strong, ambitious, and love to travel and just love to serve and just to help women in particular.
Awesome.
So I'm all about that leadership in your own life, following your purpose, because it really does lead to greater things and brings the people around you that need to be around you.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So we're going to talk about some, because I know you love talking about love. So I love that you work with high achievers. I like that about you and how you define that. What are some myths that high achieving women believe about love and relationships?
I think that the one that's most pertinent specifically for high achieving women is the masculine energy that you need when you're successful. It's, the kind of, mindset and energy that you bring to your work that also works for relationships. So this actually repels high value, high quality men.
Yeah.
They don't want to be in a relationship with another man if they're heterosexual, straight.
Yeah.
Right. So we bring this, success strategy from our careers into our relationship.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And, as you may know, like attracts like, but we need to also have polar opposites, the masculine and the feminine.
Absolutely.
Right. So without going too woo-woo, but it does become a spiritual journey to uncover and embrace your feminine energy. And that's not just about being girly and womanly, or, for me, that was a big, thing that I would remember.
What it looked like.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to be weak, and I don't want to be taken over by a man and, all this feminist stuff. But it's quite different to be in your feminine, because that actually means more focused internally, doing that inner work, whether it be meditation or manifesting or any of those things that's a bit more on the spiritual side.
Yeah.
That is, one of the biggest myths, because we come across as strong and powerful and living on purpose, and that initially attracts the right man. But whatever the biggest, I guess, mistake that successful women make is just to, stay in top gear, on that only gear all the time.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you, dating apps aren't for me.
Yes.
They're not for me.
They're
I get
not
very
for you,
frustrated
no.
really quick.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me. I've tried it several times. I didn't like the outcomes. And I will say for me, dating at my age, and I'm 50 and over, very difficult because, number one, culturally, we're put in a place that we had to be strong because of our children. We were single parents. So it's hard to navigate from that role of leading and controlling everything.
Yeah.
Right? Because we have to.
Yeah.
And it's hard to turn that off. Right? The second part, first part is I want you to teach us how to turn that off. The second question, because I don't want to forget it, is once we don't know what feminine power is, because when I'm delving into that now, right? And we usually forget it because we're so busy being the strong one, and we usually forget it. But like you said, sometimes we think it's being feminine is being very girly. Sometimes we think that, or think we have, because we may not even like nail polish and dresses, but
I don't get my nails done. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So explain to us, how to switch that power off, and then go, what is feminine power? Walk into that? How do we walk into that? And what does it look like? Really, seriously.
Okay. I'm just writing these down so I don't forget.
Sorry.
We're going to get carried away. No, that's all right, because I love this topic, and it does go off on tangent sometimes, and I'll try to be as succinct as possible.
Right.
How to turn off the masculine and get into the feminine.
Yes.
I was actually at a networking meeting event last night with some very left-brained, high-achieving women. Very logical, very rational. And, it was kind of like, we relate, right? And she's like, but why, how can we tone down our masculine? Because, that's what makes me. And I totally relate, because I'm also, a high achiever. I have many investments and property and shares and stocks and do all those kind of things. It's not so much about turning off the masculine or toning it down, because that's what makes you successful. Keep doing what's working, right? What we need to do is balance and complement. So at the moment, there's an overbalance of that left brain presence that dominates our life and makes us successful there. However, the gap is missing because we have the imbalance of the feminine energy. And like we said again, it's not about being girly, getting your nails done, having a spa day all the time, right? It's okay if you like that stuff. It's great. What we need to do is increase our feminine energy.
Right.
If I bring it back to, I'm actually a trained kinesiologist and mind-body medicine specialist. So I've studied traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine. A lot of these ancient medicines were there to heal us, not just on a body level, but also on a spiritual, energetic level. It's the unseen. A lot of left brain women are starting to discover and really understand how all that works, because that's what the feminine energy we are looking into.
Okay, so I want to know, I'm a practical girl. Although I'm a left brainer, I am a practical, what it looks like. I hear people throw this word around, and I know that being in the field, sometimes you throw around terminology and think everybody knows what it is. I love for my audience to know what it looks like. What does feminine power looks like?
What is that? Yeah, absolutely. What is it? 100%. So if we look back at what Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic says is, let's say, masculine, feminine, it really just relates to external, internal. Think of it that way. Masculine is external. Masculine biology is external.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Feminine biology is internal. Wow. Very easy way to remember it.
Yes.
It's also right side of the body is masculine, left side of the body is feminine. So sometimes when someone is injured on the body somewhere, sometimes I'll say, was it left or was it right? Was it the left ankle or was it the right ankle? Was it the left hip or the right hip?
Right.
It's because sometimes that can give you clues on what is actually happening inside the body. Because what's happening with A-type, alpha, successful women, the modern day woman, she's being too much in her masculine, her right side, her yang energy, and not focus so much on her internal yin, feminine energy.
This is true.
Right? and it's simple when you think of it like that, because feminine is, it brings the nice connotation true. Of I've just got to wait at home. I've got to wait for him to pick up my bill or my check or open the door for me. And those are traditionally feminine dating things, right? But you know, and those are nice. I love it when my guy, you know, pays for me and pulls out my chair and drives me everywhere. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I can do that myself, but to allow him, and that's another thing of the feminine energy, allowing and receiving.
Yeah.
That's part of the internal and drawing in.
Yeah.
Rather than the masculine of external pushing, forcing, seeking.
Right.
And that's what dating is. It's seeking.
Right.
It's meeting him 50-50. And I have a podcast episode on this. Meet him 49-51.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a little bit, you know, drawing back a little bit. Not playing games and not chasing, but because you're focused on yourself and your internal and all the things you love doing. And then he's going to be naturally attracted to that because that's his job to be a seeker.
Yeah.
It's his job. His external biology is seeking the feminine. And so as feminine women, we also need to protect our, you know, our internal and our vulnerability and be really selective and choose who we open ourselves and receive. Because in biology, it's the man's job to spread his seed, you know, even though, you know, we say, oh, we can do that as much as men can. And, you know, believe me, I've tried it. It's fun for a while, but you spread yourself, your energy thin, and you spread yourself thin. And, oh, there's that reputation of she's everywhere and she's easy. And, you know, all these not nice things that we're kind of like, hey, why can men do that? Why can't women do that? It's the biology. We're not designed for that way. And so when we're always in our masculine energy, yes, we believe in equality. I believe more in balance now because I don't believe we're equal. We are actually superior because we can give birth. We can create life. Men cannot do that in their bodies. Okay, so it's what that feminine energy looks like, just as a recap, is the internal. It's the left side of the body. It's the yin. So when people say, you know, yin and yang, the feminine is the yin. Yeah. That's why you'll see things like yin yoga, as opposed to say vinyasa or some, you know, different types of yoga. There's the masculine and feminine types. Even martial arts. I trained martial arts for a long time, being a very masculine female. I love martial arts. And Eastern martial arts tends to be more yin, more internal, because it draws the energy of your opponent towards you and converts it into something else. It's even more powerful. Right. And you'll have a lot of you know, kickboxing and
this is so funny.
Boxing that is more like external. But you'll see the most powerful martial arts and the most powerful personality traits, even like vulnerability, encompasses that internal feminine and converts it to something else. And that's what we're doing. We're bringing in our masculine towards us. We're converting that either into creating life, creating that powerful relationship. And that's, I guess, the fundamentals of that, balancing the feminine energy. Does that help answer?
Oh yeah. It's actually coming to life because I'm in a place right now. All of my life I've been, you know, given. Again, I'm a practical kind of person, and I've been given, you know, jobs I shouldn't have been given as a child, and roles and things like that. So I've always had to be the strong one. I had to be the one to hold the family together because I was a pseudo mom, and now this, you know, and then, you know, I was married, but I was raising children on my own. And then we got divorced and I was still raising children as my own. Then I was taking over families, taking on kids that weren't in my family, all that stuff, you know, taking on all of that stuff. And I had to be, you know, strong for so long until I broke down, really, literally.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a place. Literally for 6 months, I've been without a car and I've been fine. I can't believe it. And I'm embracing where the universe is kind of has me right now.
That's it.
So I am really working on shadow work, a lot of inner shadow work.
Amazing.
and I've been there for a little while. So I was just saying today that I feel like I'm in a cocoon, as it were, and there's a little
That's
stem,
it. That's a
a little
feminine.
stem that's
Yeah.
sticking there, and I'm holding on, right? And that's my
Yeah.
intuition. And I
Yeah.
feel like
Wow. I love
everything
that.
that I kind of go into, anything that I'm encountered with, I see like the matrix, the little numbers that flake down, and I'm like, okay, am I
Love
moving
it.
this way? Am I moving this way? And I'm doing all of this stuff, and I'm listening. I'm no longer listening to this outer. You're like, I'm no longer, because I would always, okay, what do you want? Like, why are you in my face? And that's how it would be with guys who wanted to date me. Like they liked me. I never knew they liked me because I was on something else. I was like, I was on somewhere else. He's like, you don't know he likes you? I said, no, really? And like I missed it. Like, you for real? Like, and everybody's like, yeah, he likes you. I was like, oh, somewhere else. Like I was busy putting up walls, I guess I was, and I'm learning that it's no longer this out exterior for me anymore. It's more internal. Listen to that. Listen to
Yes.
that. And then that
That's
way I
it.
can see the faces. I can see what's really there instead of, being on guard all the time. Because that's really the male part of me is being on guard. It's like, I'm a big one, I'm strong. I'm
100%.
yeah. So I can see
Yeah.
how that happens, I can see how
Yes.
that happens. So
Yes.
you
That's
talk about you're
beautiful.
talking about energy now, and I love this, and I want to ask this question because I don't want to miss this question because now I got you in front of me. I'm all excited. What's the
Absolutely.
first internal shift you help your clients make before they even think about love?
Oh, that's such a great question. Let me tell a quick story.
Sure.
I'm really into business. I'm a massive entrepreneur, as you discovered.
That's a new one. I'm gonna put that. That's a hashtag, audience. Massive entrepreneur.
Right? Oh yeah. I love it. I could talk about it
Mm-hmm.
day till night, dusk till dawn.
Yes.
I was listening to a podcast from a mentor, David Nagel. He said something that really caught my ear. And this was when I was single, and I was single for 5 years, and I was traveling the world, and I was still not meeting the right guy. I was meeting lots of men, but they just weren't right for me.
Right.
He said something that caught my ear. And he said, if you're not getting what you want in life, getting the results that you want in life, it's because you're resisting something.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
It's true.
Right?
It's true. Yes.
And so this becomes a huge breakthrough, because a lot of the time we're reactionary and we say, I'm not resisting anything, and it doesn't come until you're ready to hear it, and the student is willing to listen, right? And I had actually one client, one of my, best, success stories, this woman, very successful doctor, has multiple 6-figure businesses, amazing, very attractive. And, I said, well, do this exercise as part of your homework. And when we come back to our session, let's discuss it. She comes to the session, hasn't done it. She's like, I'm not resisting anything. No, that's not me. I'm good. I'm good. I do a lot of work on myself. I do a lot of therapy. I do a lot of alternative, complementary, healing. And it was just this one exercise that was so powerful that she actually broke through her resistance in that moment.
Wow.
And she was able to recognize, and you mentioned a really important point, the intuition, the cocoon that you said, that stem to the branch, the main branch, your
absolutely,
your connection to the source energy or the universal.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
She used that because she was able to hone that through the program to actually be in the right place at the right time. So this is coming back to the tangible, right? We need to be in the right place at the right time, right man.
Right.
For that to happen, because, we want to take it offline, although we can use it as a tool, but we want to meet our person offline, in person. And so she was able to meet him within, I think it was about 6 to 8 months.
Wow.
And it was mainly this one exercise that helped her have that massive breakthrough, and it was the resistance.
Wow. Yeah, that is, that is heavy, because I just learned that. I was asking myself that very same thing. Why isn't this happening? Doing this, and this. And then I realized resistance, because we always react or respond, but when there's something that we don't know or we're uncertain about, we resist it. Yeah. And I was resisting. And when I was able to drop that wall and realize I'm resisting because of this, and I give myself permission not to resist. I give myself the opportunity to allow, and then and be able to receive. And when I did that, it immediately, everything else, it just fell away. It's like, okay, I let the gate down.
100%. That's it.
Yeah.
And you
let the gate down. You let it down.
And it's okay to let the gate down when you put yourself in the right environment.
That's right. Right. Exactly.
Right. We don't want to put our gate down when we're still going through, maybe potentially abusive relationships.
Exactly.
Or around us are not healthy for us.
Yeah, they got to be leading the right way. Yeah.
Exactly. We have those protective walls for a reason.
Yes.
Evolutionarily, they've been there to protect us. Now the transformation, as we come into a new era in our universe, in our world, of consciousness awakening, we need to start selectively removing those walls that protect us.
Okay, right. Okay.
And when we are putting ourselves in the right environment, and this is kind of stage 3 of my process, is you allow yourself to start receiving.
Right.
And that is also the feminine. So a lot of it is moving, opening up for that feminine energy, because then you can receive downloads from intuition. You can hear your guides or your spirits, or, if you're religious, God, you can hear the guidance.
For sure.
And you may hear it, you may feel it, you may see it, all those clairvoyance that we're actually naturally gifted in, especially as women. The witches. Accused of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that really opens up. Yeah.
Right. You're so right. My grandson calls me a good witch. I know what to do. He just calls me a good witch. She knows how to fix anything, So, so I have a number of questions for you, but I want to spend 2 minutes on this question because I see it often with a lot of my clients, and I know you do too. So how do we help women stop chasing emotional, unavailable partners and start attracting aligned ones?
Yeah. Okay. Let me put this in a very tangible way. I actually have a model that illustrates exactly why we do this. It's called the Love Journey model. In a nutshell, it's basically because of a lot of the programs that we've been programmed with during our childhood. So you'll hear a lot of this in therapy. I'm not a therapist. I have some counseling background and life coaching. But the base of it, and you'll hear all the gurus out there, Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, you'll hear them all say the same thing. And, why is everyone saying the same thing? A really good book that I read also that demonstrates this is The Biology of Belief, Dr. Bruce Lipton.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he's passed now, but the book is brilliant. Bit dry in the first half, but the second half of the book is amazing. But it basically says that the first years of our childhood, up until the age of 6 or 7, is our most imprintable stage, our most programmable stage. So we come to the world not like a blank canvas, but we are programmable by human means. So quick example is like if you put a baby with a pack of wolves, the baby will start to act like a pack of wolves. Like a wolf. But if you put a wolf with a human family, it's not going to act like a human. Right? So this proves that humans are actually programmable. We're highly impressionable at that young age. You always hear that young impressionable youths. So we have this kind of programming from our parents, or maybe lack of parents, single parents, having to be both.
Right.
And school teachers, neighbors, community. It takes a village to raise a child. Right. So we have this programming at this young age that we need to find our other half.
Yeah.
The Spanish call that your media naranja, half an orange. He completes me. Right. I'm looking for my soulmate. So all these things you feel like I'm looking for, searching for, I'm not complete in myself, leads us into dependent relationships. So Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Right.
He details this first stage of dependency. You may call it codependent. And this leads us to thinking, I need somebody else to fulfill me emotionally.
Right. Yeah.
Because I can't do that myself. Why? Because my parents did it for me when I was a kid.
Right.
My teachers did it for me when I was a kid.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. So you're constantly in this mindset of, I need somebody else to make me whole. And if you've grown up with the idea that you're a fixer, you're a rescuer, especially if you're a strong personality, that you're rescuing and saving. I've had 8-figure CEOs that I've worked with, and they feel like they've always got to rescue and fix and save. And if that's in your programming and that's in your mindset, those are the kind of men you feel most attracted to.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a wounded bird. I can save him. I can change him. I can see his potential.
Yeah.
I know it's in there. If I stick with him long enough, I can.
Yeah, that's
help
true.
him.
Very true.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like we are designed to help each other. It's sorry?
There's a lot wrong with it because it always ends up in a debacle.
Because it's a strength overused.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Your strength overused becomes a weakness.
Yes.
And we do that as strong women because we do what works and we just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So the first one is that awareness of we just need to recognize that is what the program is.
Yeah.
Right. And that the first step in my 3-step framework is to release. We need to release that old programming.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And that second step now is to actually rewrite that old programming. Wow. That's when you can start saying, hey, I've learned my lesson. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm ready to rewrite my programming to say, I attract healthy, committed, emotionally mature, available men.
Yeah.
And I'm a magnet for them.
That's right.
And they'll be chasing me down just like, men were chasing you. And you didn't even know because you're there living your best life. You're like, you may have had your wars, but you were focused on your life. And that's that third step, the receiving of all the abundance of beautiful things that life has to give you, because you're on your purpose, your vision.
Right.
And it naturally becomes so attractive to the right man.
Right. Awesome.
Men want to be inspired. It's that classic case of, I need a muse. Why did painters have a muse? Because it inspires great art.
Yes.
Napoleon Hill says in his book, Think and Grow Rich, that the greatest, most successful men in the past, in our history, always had the love of a woman, his wife.
Yeah.
And as soon as he had affairs and just thought with his external, lust, moved on to the mistress, business fell apart.
Yeah. There you
so
go.
As a powerful woman, high achieving, ambitious woman, we can inspire and be a partner to another great man.
Yeah.
And I think that's really our role, because we don't want to go for those guys who are on those apps because they're not up to your level, not just emotionally, physically, financially on your level, but you want to start attracting from an elite group of high value men
right.
who are on the same path as you. Because then, you know, if you're not aligned on that level, he's probably going to drag you down. You're probably going to feel like you got to look after him. You got to, you know, lead the relationship. And that's the thing I got sick of. You know, I had wonderful relationships, but I always felt like I had to be the leader. I had to, you know, and I was like, I was attracting more feminine men than me. Not that they were weak, but I naturally took the lead and overpowered their masculine. And I recognized that in myself and said, I need to stop doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I stopped doing that, then I attracted someone else who was more masculine, but also very balanced in his feminine. And he's teaching me a lot of stuff. He's always like, you know, you've got that resistance thing happening. I'm like, no, I don't. And, you know, I'm still on my way as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, now I've attracted a next level of relationship that I, you know, need my soulmate for this part of my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we have multiple soulmates.
Right.
So if you want to stop chasing those emotionally unavailable men, firstly, it's the chasing. We need to get back into our feminine and receive.
Right.
And then also recognize that the patterns and habits and behaviors that is having you attracted to those particular types of relationships, it's not really you. Yeah. They're just things that you can actually change.
Right. Awesome. Michelle, thank you for keeping it honest and empowering. You reminded us that finding love, it isn't about chasing, it's about aligning. To my high achieving sisters out there, your success doesn't disqualify you from love. It defines the kind of love you deserve. Stop shrinking. Start choosing relationships that fit your purpose, not just your loneliness. Don't forget to follow and share this episode with a friend who's ready to stop settling and start receiving. This is Edna White, your host of Keeping It Real on Purpose, and my esteemed guest, Michelle Wong, saying goodbye for now.
Thank you. Bye.